All right, so this time you've kind of thrown me a curveball. A single movie review for our deep dive.
Yeah, definitely an interesting choice.
But hey, I'm game of curious. Is Challengers actually worth all the hype? Is it more than just like a Zendaya's in it and it's about tennis, so it must be hot kind of thing?
Yeah, the reviewer seems a little frustrated with that surface level marketing, honestly.
Right. Okay, well then, mission for this deep dive. Let's figure out what Challengers is really all about.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the reviewer starts off by comparing it to Whiplash. Now that got my attention because Whiplash is, well, intense.
For sure. It really makes you think about ambition and the dark side of, like, you know, going after your dreams, especially in something as competitive as professional sports.
Yeah, what's the cost of achieving all that?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the reviewer quotes the director, Luca Guadagnino. He was drawn to how tennis and relationships kind of get all tangled up in this, like, dynamic story.
Right, and that resonates even if you're not into tennis, right? Because our ambitions, our relationships, they're always kind of pushing and pulling at each other.
For sure. Okay, so we know there's a love triangle. And let's be real, that's what's got everyone buzzing, right? Zendaya caught between two guys. But the reviewer seems way more fascinated by the male friendship, which I gotta admit is a little surprising.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So we've got Art, played by Mike Faist, and then Patrick, played by Josh O'Connor.
Okay.
And there's that scene everyone's talking about in the trailer, where Zendaya's character, Tashi, she tells both of them to come here. And Art kind of hesitates.
Oh, I bet.
Right. But Patrick just goes for it.
Ooh, that's a good setup.
It totally shows their different personalities. Art is more hesitant, subtle. Patrick's just like going for it. And then on top of that, you've got the whole world of professional tennis where rankings are everything.
Oh man, can you imagine the pressure? That just adds another layer to their friendship.
Absolutely. And the reviewer actually calls them messy, which, okay, spoiler alert, they admit to finding pretty entertaining.
Oh, I totally get that. Sometimes messy characters make for the best stories, right?
Yeah, definitely. But they're not just talking about Tashi and Patrick, who are obviously doing some questionable things. They're saying Art's a bit messy, too.
Really?
Yeah, remember how Art tries to, like, come between Tashi and Patrick back when they were all at Stanford?
Oh, wow. So there's some history there.
Yeah, big time. And it sounds like Tashi isn't exactly a saint, either. The reviewer mentions her reaction to Art's career slump.
Oh, yeah, but was it?
When he asks if she'd still love him if he lost, she throws back, "What am I, Jesus?"
Oh, ouch, cold.
Yeah. So we're dealing with three flawed people, all caught up in this web of, like, ambition, love, and betrayal.
No wonder the reviewer was hooked. Okay, so they raved about the sauna scene. The cinematography is apparently amazing, and it subtly shifts the power dynamic between Art and Patrick.
Yeah, you can really feel the tension building, both literally because it's a sauna and figuratively.
That's interesting because the reviewer also mentioned that Tashi might actually respect Patrick more than Art.
Right. And there's that line from the trailer where Patrick says, "It's nice to see you lit up about something, even if it's my girlfriend."
Oh, I remember that.
It kind of suggests that Art is more into the idea of Tashi than Tashi herself.
Yeah.
And maybe she picks up on that. Maybe she wants someone who sees her for who she really is, flaws and all.
Huh. Yeah, that makes you wonder about her motivations. Like, why does she ask Patrick to lose that final match? Is it some kind of test? Or is she genuinely trying to help him be his best, even if it means losing to Art?
Good questions.
I know. And now the reviewer's kind of bummed that the ending doesn't really give us closure on Art and Patrick's relationship.
I get that. Sometimes you just want a clear resolution, but
But,
ambiguity can be powerful too, right? It leaves you thinking about what happens next.
true. Each viewer gets to kind of create their own ending in their head. All right, so complex characters, tangled love triangle, an ending that keeps us guessing. But what about the actual filmmaking? Did the reviewer say anything about Guadagnino's creative choices?
They were blown away by the score. It's EDM, which on paper sounds so weird for a tennis drama, but the reviewer says it totally works and adds to that energy and playfulness.
Whoa, okay, so we have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, known for their dark, intense scores, suddenly doing something totally upbeat and energetic for a tennis movie.
It's like Guadagnino is playing with our expectations, right? You go in thinking it's this serious drama, and then bam, EDM.
And speaking of playing with expectations, what about the visuals?
The cinematography is apparently amazing. Lots of cool camera angles, like they're shooting up through the court, giving you this totally unique view of the game.
Whoa, that's cool.
And then there are POV shots, not just from the characters, but even from the tennis ball.
Wow, that's immersive.
But the reviewer wasn't as into the slow motion and sweat, especially near the end. It felt a bit overdone.
Yeah, I can see that. Sometimes less is more, especially when the story is already so emotionally charged, you know? Okay, so intriguing story, great acting, some really innovative visuals, an EDM score that I still can't wrap my head around. But is there anything the reviewer didn't like?
They mentioned the slow motion and sweat effects felt a bit excessive, especially towards the end. Like Guadagnino was trying a little too hard to amp up the intensity of the matches, but even with that, their overall take is really positive.
I think it's safe to say that Challengers is way more than just a sexy tennis movie.
Absolutely. It seems like Guadagnino is using the world of tennis as a backdrop to explore deeper themes. Ambition, love, betrayal, the cost of success.
And let's not forget that EDM score.
Right. I mean, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, known for their dark and atmospheric scores, creating something upbeat and energetic for a tennis movie. It's unexpected, to say the least.
It's like he's saying, hey, this isn't your typical tennis movie. Get ready for something different.
Exactly. It's bold, it's playful, and it makes you wonder what other surprises Guadagnino has up his sleeve.
So we've got this intriguing story, incredible actors, a director who's clearly not afraid to take risks, and a score that's going to be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a film that's operating on multiple levels. On the surface, it's this captivating story about love, ambition, and rivalry. But underneath, it's exploring deeper themes about competition, the price of success, and the complexities of human relationships.
And what did the reviewer think about the actors? We haven't talked about Zendaya, O'Connor, and Faist's performances yet.
That's where things get really exciting. The reviewer was completely blown away, especially by Zendaya. Yeah, they see this as her moving away from those big blockbusters like Spider-Man and Dune, and more into these character-driven roles.
Yeah, I feel like she's really choosing projects that challenge her as an actress. And it's not just Zendaya, right? This could be huge for Josh O'Connor and Mike Faist, too.
The reviewer thinks so. They said all three actors bring so much depth to their roles, it elevates the whole film,
So we've got amazing actors, this visually stunning director, and a story that's obviously more than just a love triangle. But does it all work? Does the movie hold together?
Well, the reviewer says the pacing is great, fast-paced and dynamic. It sounds like Guadagnino doesn't waste any time getting to the good stuff.
Okay, good. Because nobody wants to be checking their watch during a movie. And speaking of time, remember that Whiplash comparison? Both films are about competition, right?
Yeah.
That pressure cooker environment.
Totally. And both have characters who push themselves to the limit, even if it means sacrificing relationships or their own well-being. So yeah, we can probably expect a similar level of intensity.
Okay, so to bring it back to our original question, is Challengers more than just a sexy tennis movie? I'm thinking yes.
I'm with you on that. It seems like Guadagnino is using tennis to explore bigger ideas, Ambition, love, betrayal.
And that EDM score. I mean, come on, that's a bold choice.
I know, right? But the reviewer says it actually works. They describe it as adding to the film's energy and playfulness. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who are known for their dark and atmospheric scores, making something upbeat and energetic for a tennis movie.
It's like he's intentionally messing with us. You think you're getting a serious drama, and then bam, EDM.
Right. And we already talked about those awesome camera angles.
Yeah, shooting up through the court, the POV shots for the characters, and even the tennis ball. It sounds so cool.
The reviewer was really into those and said it puts you right there on the court.
So, great story, great acting, super cool visuals, an EDM score, anything the reviewer didn't like.
They weren't crazy about the overuse of slow motion and sweat, especially towards the end.
It felt like too much.
Yeah, a little over the top, we get it. The match is intense.
Sometimes you gotta let the emotion speak for itself, Okay, so even with those minor criticisms, it seems like the reviewer was really into it.
Oh yeah, they were super impressed. They're definitely hyped about this movie. And it sounds like they're not alone, right?
Yeah, the buzz around Challengers is unreal. Everyone's talking about the love triangle, the Zendaya of it all. But this review makes it clear there's so much more to it than that.
For sure. It's a film with layers, On the surface, it's about love, ambition, rivalry. But underneath, it's exploring bigger questions about competition, what we're willing to sacrifice for success, the messiness of relationships.
It sounds like the kind of film that sticks with you. Makes you think about the characters and their choices long after you've seen it.
Right. And that's the sign of a really great film, isn't it? It stays with you. It makes you feel something.
So what do you think? Must see. Should our listeners rush out to the theater?
Based on this review, absolutely. It's a gorgeous film, amazing performances, compelling story. Definitely worth checking out.
Plus EDM score. I'm dying to hear how that works in context.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I want to see all those camera angles, all the symbolism the reviewer was talking about.
Yeah, speaking of symbolism, let's get back to that egg imagery, the loof. What do you think Guadagnino is doing with that?
It's definitely not random. It's like he's intentionally weaving this imagery into the film, especially in those scenes between Tashi, Art, and Patrick.
Like that first meeting by the water, where Tashi seems so alluring, like a siren. And then we've got this love and tennis concept, which comes from the word for egg.
Oh.
It's like he's playing with this idea of fragility, of something that can easily break.
Yeah, and remember how the reviewer was talking about how that scene really establishes Tashi's power over these guys?
Totally, like she's got them under her spell.
Right, so maybe the egg imagery is hinting at how their love for her is like both powerful and fragile at the same time. It could create something amazing, but it could also, just shatter.
And that pressure comes from all their ambitions, right? They're all driven to win on the court and off.
Exactly. It's like they're playing this high-stakes game where love and ambition are constantly bumping up against each other.
And the reviewer pointed out that Tashi might actually respect Patrick more than Art, because he challenges her, sees her for who she really is.
Yeah, which makes you wonder about her motivations even more. Like, why does she ask him to throw that final match? Is she testing him? Or is she actually trying to push him to be even better, even if it means losing?
It's a really interesting question, and the film doesn't give us a clear answer, which, I don't know, maybe that's part of the point. It leaves us thinking about these characters and their choices.
For sure. We don't get a simple resolution, but we do get a glimpse into how complicated these people are,
Okay, so we've talked about the story, the themes, the symbolism. But what about the actual performances? What did the reviewer have to say about Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Faist?
They were blown away, especially by Zendaya. They said she's so captivating, so complex. Like, you can see both her, her cunning and her vulnerability.
Yeah, that makes sense. She's an amazing actress. What about O'Connor and Faith? Did they hold their own?
Oh yeah, they were fantastic. The reviewer actually said that the chemistry between O'Connor and Faist is more compelling than any of the romantic relationships in the film.
Really?
Yeah, like they bring so much intensity and depth to their friendship, which of course gets totally messed up when Tashi comes along.
I think that's what makes this whole story so interesting, so heartbreaking. These two friends connected by their love of tennis.
Yeah.
And then it all falls apart because of jealousy and ambition. And let's be real, Tashi's kind of manipulative.
Absolutely. It's not a simple love triangle. And the reviewer even hinted that we see some vulnerability from Tashi too, Like, maybe she's not as cold-hearted as she seems.
Maybe she has some regrets.
Right. And that makes her even more interesting as a character. She's not just this one-dimensional villain. She's a real person with her own stuff going on.
And Zendaya really captures that, huh?
Oh, totally. And O'Connor and Faist too. They all bring so much to their roles that it becomes way more than just your typical love triangle.
So it sounds like Challengers is this visually stunning, emotionally intense film. It makes you think about the choices you make in life, the sacrifices you're willing to make, and those big, messy themes of love, ambition, and friendship.
And it leaves you with a lot of unanswered questions.
Which is a good thing. I mean, it means the film has stayed with us, right?
Yeah.
It's made us think and feel things.
Exactly. And that's what we try to do here on the deep dive, right? We go beyond the surface, look for those deeper meanings, and hopefully have some interesting conversations along the way.
So to our listeners out there, definitely check out Challengers. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your take on it.
Absolutely. Until next time, happy watching.